Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we will be finishing the tasks that we have been left off in the last video. So let's get started. Alright, so in the last video we have just completed our image and content section in order to have some styling. So today we will be focusing on the divider and the batches and finally with the button link. So let's move on into our code editor and let's just copy this portion. And let's duplicate this one and we just name it divider style settings. Let's say divider and also divider here. Alright, so let's focus on what we want to do actually with it. So what we can add in order to styling, we can add background color, we can add the height, and also we can add the width. So let's do that. So let's start with the height first. So in order to add the height, we want a slider. So let's go back into the browser and search for Elementor controls. And let's click on that and let's search for the slider. Actually there it is. So let's open into the new tab and just grab the code from here and let's go back into the code editor and let's say width first. So yeah, the labeling is okay, so we can say divider width and let's open our CSS so we can check that whether what was the default for the divider. So let's search for, here it is. So the default width was 100 pixel and the height was 2 pixels. So let's define that. So let's maximum 1000, doesn't matter. Let's put step as 1 and our default unit should be pixel, px, and the default size we want is 100. And the next one we need to define the selector here. So let's copy it from here and paste it here. So that should be it for the width, and let's also just duplicate the whole thing for the height as well. So let's say this one for height and divider height and height, and the height was actually 2 pixels, so let's do 2. And here the selector should be same. We just need to change the CSS attribute. So let's say height. Alright, so let's check that out into the backend. So if we go and hit refresh, reload, and if we go to the style, we should see a divider section, and here this is the width and this is the height. So let's try to change it. So let's increase it. As you can see, it is not actually clearly visible, but we will add background color so you can see it clearly. But if you noticing it, it is actually increasing and decreasing. Let's check with the height as well. So as you can see, the height is also increasing and decreasing. So the default was 2. Alright, and the default width was 100 pixel. So like the previous episodes, we can also define the description description here, so that the user can understand what is the default value. Description, let's say default 100 pixel, let's put on the comma here and just copy and paste it here as well, and let's say default is 2 pixel. Alright, so let's reload again. Now as you can see, the default value is showing here as a description. So the next one, let's add a color or a background color. So let's go back into the documentation again and let's search for the color. So there it is. Let's open it and let's just grab this code from here and put it here. Let's say background color. Alright, so we can say divider background color. Also here background color, and we do not need those things. And if we go there, our default was set like this RGBA, so we can do that like this default and like this one. So now we also need the selector. The selector is same as before, image card divider, and we also need to change this color from background color. So that should be it. So let's check it out in the front end. So if we click on style divider, as you can see, the background color is there and the default has been set as we defined. So let's try to change that out. Let's say it's black. So as you can see, it is changing. So if we increase the height, it would be more visible. If we increase the width, it would be more visible. So yeah, this is how you can add those things. So I think we are done with the divider. So let's move on into the batches. So for the batches, I will only style the top one, because the other one will be, doing the other ones will be a bit redundant for this video. So I'll just show you the first one, and then the rest too you can do it easily. So for the first batch, I will add background and the text color and the typography as well. So let's go back into the code editor and at first let's add the background color. So but before that, we also create a section as well. So let's copy this one and duplicate this one as before, and let's just say top batch style settings. So you can say top batch style settings, top batch. Alright, so now let's add the background color. Okay, let's just copy this one. You can replace it. So we can say top batch background color, and let's go there and let's try to search the top batch. So this is the top batch price, and we actually done it differently, because if you can remember, we added this kind of class and we also add this background color, so that when we add this color, this background color is added there. So we can take this as a default, so we can replace it. We need to add hashtag here. Okay, now, and the selector should be this one, image card image top price batch. Alright, so the rest of the things should be okay. Also let's do the text color as well, because we are adding the same control. Alright, so we can say text color top batch, you can say top batch text color as well, and the default text color is white, and we can say here just the color. So that should be it for the color. So let's check that out. Reload. As you can see, the top batch section has been added. So there's the default background color. So let's try to change that into the green. As you can see, it is already impacting, and let's try to change the text color as well, and this is also working. So sure enough, we know that our things are working. Alright, so let's just put white here. Yeah, and let's hit update. So now let's add the typography. So in order to add the typography, we need to use the typographic group controls. So let's open that, and let's just grab this portion of code, go back to the code editor, and let's say typography here. And we can say not the content typography but the top batch typography, and let's put the typography here. We do not need any schema because we just want the plain text, and we also need to add the selector. So the selector is this one. Alright, so let's check that out. Hit refresh, and if we go to the style batch, and there is the typography, if we click on it, we can do several things. We can change the font family, we can change the size, we can change the width, and we can change the transform, style, decoration, line height, and even the letter spacing. So we can do many more things, but let's check with some monospace font. So let's say Fira Mono. As you can see, it is impacting immediately. So we can also change the size as well, we can change the width as well. As you can see, it is now bold. We can change the default because it is a number, so you know everything will be the same. We can check the italic. As you can see, we can work with the line height, even the letter spacing. So yeah, many things we can do with the typographic group controls. So I think that is good enough for the top batch for the starter. We can actually add many more things here. We can actually add a slider control in order to managing the position of that from the top or the bottom. We can add the box shadow, we can add the border radius and many stuff things, but I think those will be redundant for this video. We can add, or you can enhance any section with this kind of controls easily. So next stuff, let's move on into the buy button here, and let's see how we can do that. So for the button, what I want to add a background color, I want to add the text color and the border radius. But here's the thing, if you hover over it, we can see the variation. When we are not hovering it, the color is different. When we are hovering it, the color is different. So we need to manage both the states. So in order to do that, we will add a special control that Elementor provides us. So let's dig into that. So let's go into the documentation first, and here in the widgets area, into the register widgets controls section, you will find a link, add control tabs to widgets. So let's explore that, and this is the way that you can add these controls. So let's see the example code so we can understand briefly. So this is the starting point, that is start controls tab, and this is the first state, if you can say, and this is the end of the first tab, and this is the beginning of the second tab, and this is the end of the second tab, and finally we are closing all the tabs. So it's kind of a nesting controls. So let's start with it. So let's copy the portion by portion so you can understand it better. So let's go back into the code editor, but before that we actually forget the thing that we need to create a section as well. So let's duplicate it as before, and let's say by button style settings. Let's say here by button style settings. I should say like this. By button. Alright, so now we can say here I can say just tabs here, and let's go there and copy the first portion, go there and paste it, and let's say here like by button style tabs. We can say here button tabs. Alright, so when we start a control tabs, we need to end it. So how we can end it? If we just scroll down into the last, this one, but there's a symmetric things going on, like start controls tabs and end sorry, not the end controls section, it should be end controls tabs. There it is, end controls tabs. So as you can see, there is a plural indication like controls tabs. So you can understand that this is the main tabs control. Now inside that, what we need the individual tabs here. So let's copy, and this one is the first individual tabs. So let's say this one the normal tab or normal mode of the button, or let's say normal state rather. So let's say like by button normal state, and we need to end this as well. So it is, if you can see, start controls tab, not the tabs but the tabs. So it should end like end controls tab. So there it is, end controls tab. Alright, so inside there we will add our controls. So other controls we can say. So let's copy this one and create another tab. This is the hover state. So we can say button sorry, it should be by button and the hover. You can say hover. Also let's change or fix it. Alright, so now let's go back and let's see what happens. Reload, and if we go to the style by button, as you can see there's a tab going on, normal and hover. That is what we are trying to create. So now we will add the conventional controls into these two separate tabs. So first let's begin with the normal. So in the normal we want the background color and the text color. So let's do that. So for that we have actually used so many colors controls. So let's just copy this one. So this is the normal state, so we can paste it here. Just a tab, we can say background color, and we can say by button normal, just short name BG color. You can say background color, Alright, now what we also need, we need to grab the default stylings from the public CSS. So let's go and find the link button. I think it is kind of this one, yeah. So let's copy the selector first and replace the selector, and this should be the background color, and the default background color, I think this one. Alright, so now let's just duplicate this one and say text color as well, and the default text color was white, and this should be just the color. So let's check that out. Let's go back to the style by button. As you can see, into the normal state or normal tab, the background color is set and the text color. So let's try something different. As you can see, it is changing already. For the text color, it is also changing. So yeah, this is working. So let's move on into the hover state. So what we can do actually, for saving our time, we just copy and paste and replace it here. So just we can say from normal to hover, and we just need to add a hover pseudo here, and the default hover color was 707070. So this should be from normal to hover, and it is also hover, and the default color was white. So I think we're good to go, and let's check that out. Alright, so if we go by button, now if we click on the hover, as you can see, it is changing accordingly. So now if we change it to from this to red, now if we hover, as you can see, this one is red. So the text color should also work. Let's put it black. As you can see, it is reflecting. So the last thing what I want is to add the typography as the top batch. So let's just grab the typography from there, this one, and I just want this typography common for all, so I do not want into the tabs. So under the tab, let's put this one, and we just copy the selector from here and paste it here, and let's say by button typography. Alright, so let's check that out. So let's try to change the typography. Let's say Tahoma. As you can see, it is changing already. Helvetica, yeah. So this is how you can add several controls in order to make, or in order to associate your styles into your component or into your widget. I'm just trying to show you the basic stuffs that you can add into your widget, so that you can have a better styling control even in your widgets. You can improve it in a lot better way. You can add several things, but what I just try to show you here, that you can get started with it, and you can do whatever you want and whatever control you want to use according to your style. So I think this is it for this video, and I hope you liked it. And if you liked it, please do subscribe this channel and give a thumbs up, so I can get inspired in order to create more and more videos for you.